gamers, it's Tabletop again, and I want to give you a new way of terrain tutorial. And yes, there were some problems with sound, and now I hopefully fix them, because I'm only using the microphone of my notebook. And yeah, there were some problems, but what I want to show you is how I built the terrain, the hill terrain of my newest project, the jungle terrain, the jungle hills with the stone quarters. Perhaps you've seen them on my blog, tabletoplenny.blogspot.com. And yeah, I think we just start. And what you see is my working bench, and here is some wooden bases. In this case, it's cut with a jigsaw out of 6mm MD multiplex wood, I think, to structure the hill, to give it the topography and the slope. I use this time styropor, because afterwards I will work over with some filler. And to cut the styropor I use a kitchen knife, as you can see here. In comparison, styrofoam and styropor, it got these bubbles, and this is an isolation foam, styrofoam green, which has a higher density than styropor, but if you work over with filler, it's no problem. Here you can see me cutting. You better use two hands while you cut foam with your kitchen knife, and you have to be careful, obviously. Here you can see me sharpening and cutting the shape of the hill. Here is an edge where the stone quarter wall should be placed, and on the other side I'm carving the slope of the hill. As you can see here, this is more or less the slope of the hill, the main body, and this is the base for the second hill, which are more or less related and belong to the same project. The next step is to glue the styropor topography on the wooden base. For this I use simple white glue, PVA glue, like carpenters use. And then it's time to cut and the stone blocks, the stone quarters out of the styrofoam, which is green isolation styrofoam. And for this I also use my sharp kitchen knife, because to buy hobby knife blades is very expensive, and this knife is always, you can resharpen it. I think that is I don't know if it's a correct word, but I think you get the meaning. And to give the stone quarters a nice smooth shape, I use sanding paper, which works very well with isolation foam. Here you can see the base with constructing the stone quarter wall, which is related to walls in to jungle temples and ruins in Asia or Cambodia. Jungle temples with big giant stone quarter walls, and you better start early to place a miniature nearby to get a feeling for the scale. Here I just start experiments with some separated stone quarters, stone blocks laying around. Yeah, just making experiments how it should turn out when it's finished. This is preparing the second of the two hills, same method. Here you get an overview about the working bench, the two hills, then there are two stone quarters, wall segments, and you see the materials that I use, and you see that it's a messy job. A lot of dirt and pieces and bubbles from the styropor are lying around, and what you see here is other steps from the rough stone block to the sanded stone blocks. And this is the start, obviously, and this is the end of the designing, the work on the stone quarters for the stone walls. And if you want more detailed pictures of this, you will find them on my blogspot, tabletoplenny.blogspot.com. This is more or less the same picture with a little bit more overview. This is the piece where I cut out the styrofoam blocks, and here you can see more blocks and blocks in different states. It is a time-intense work, but yeah, it's a nice work. You can listen to something while you're doing this, and something is a little bit like meditation to make stone quarters out of styrofoam. More stone quarters, stone blocks out of styrofoam. And here you can see me gluing the stone wall. So for this I use the white glue, the PVA glue, because it do not reacts with foam. If you use something like super glue, you won't have any foam anymore because it reacts. And yeah, you can glue nearly everything with white glue, but if you want to have a really strong glue for gluing metal with metal or metal with plastic, it's better to use super glue. But for any other case, especially if you glue foam and wood, white glue is the best way to go, because you can dilute it with water and place it with a brush. It's really nice to work. You can see here when I start building terrain, I use a lot of brushes for different uses, and it's always better to water them even if they are dirty, because if the glue or filler dries in your brush, you can throw it away. Here you can see I finished the work of with the stone wall made of styrofoam, and I started to glue on some rock structures made out of cork bark. And what you see, what is also important, that you clean up your working space. That is one of the most important things when it comes to building something. You want to get a better overview, and so you have to clean up your working space from time to time. Here you can see me trimming the cork bark in the right direction. I need bigger pieces for the rock formations, and I also need smaller pieces because I want to have the same material for rocks that are lying around. And here you get a detailed picture of the cork bark. This is the back side of the cork bark, which is inside of the tree, and this is the outside of the cork bark, which is outside. That are different structures, and yeah, you can choose in which way you use this material for your scale modeling. Here you can see the main body of the hill, the stone quarter wall, which goes over into a rock formation, and here is the styropor slope on the backside. The next step is to cover and to model the earth that is lying on the slope, and for this I use water-based filler. This is the other one, and just a picture of the second. There are two more or less similar hills, and there the phase of filling it with filler, the cracks, and to model the earth, the ground with filler I missed here, but perhaps we can zoom in and you can see that I modeled it with filler, then it dried, and afterwards you can sand it and give it the final structure of the groundwork. But what you see here is giving the whole terrain a texture, and for this I use different kinds of flogs and sand and pebbles and things like this. And to glue them on, I use water diluted PVA glue. And you have to choose and think about where are some materials, perhaps in the edges, and then there are some places where it's more or less a sandy terrain, and then there are places where it's an earth terrain, and then you get the rock segments where are parts from the bigger rocks that have crumbled off and lay in the corners. You can see the finished texturing with different materials. This one is another project which I will show you details soon in a similar video. It's a fantasy stone building, an outpost on a Caribbean island for pirates or something like this. And now it's time to paint. First of all, I paint the terrain pieces black, and afterwards I put on brownish tones diluted with water, so the whole piece is wet, and then you can place different brown tones, so you get not smooth but diverse your surface and ground coat for your paintings, for your dry brushing afterwards. And I just thought that I should give my stone blocks a little bit more structure, so I use this rock, this pebble, and press it in the foam to give it a rock structure. You can use different stones or materials to try it out and see what you want and what is the right structure of your foam stone blocks. You can see it's unprepared, without pressing in the stone. And here is one of the biggest problems of terrain making, that you always lose hairs of your brushes. And this is an overworked piece, and here you can see the marks of pressing in the stone and giving the foam a little bit more structure. This is without pressing, and this is structured. And now it's time for dry brushing. So I work up with dark brown tones and finish it with some bright tones to paint the highlights, the common dry brushing technique. And obviously the stone quarter wall is brushed with gray and white tones. Yeah, and if you finish the painting to an acceptable level, it's time for vegetation and for setting plants. This is a flock, green flock, I think it's from Noch, it's called blended turf or something like this. It's based on cork, I think, and I place it and glue it with, once again, PVA white glue. And yeah, you have to think where to glue your vegetation, and I think it's more interesting not to vegetate the whole terrain piece, because it's just looking more interesting. You get more contrasts between areas where that are higher vegetated, and perhaps there is more water, so plants could grow better. And I also plant some bushes which are from a decoration store, and they come in spruce. You have to separate and drill holes and place the bushes in and glue them with PVA glue. As you can see here, even some bushes came out of the cracks of the stone wall. This is the turf, this is the bushes, these are some palm trees. If you're interested in the company that produces palm trees, just get in touch. And here you get some detailed packs of the vegetation. This is the blended turf, these are the bushes, which should be get a wash, so they look a little bit more natural and not so plastic-like. And I decided to put in some more variation of plants and give it some static grass effects, as you can see here, here. And yeah, you have to decide where to go with your vegetation. These are the plastic bushes, which you can see are very simple ones, but they are cheap, and from a distance they look very good, in my opinion. To finish it, it's always nice to have a spectrum. Perhaps this is they are too stoned, and there is more water, so there would grow a little bit more static grass, and bush gets water from it. You always have to think what is realistic, what could happen in the real world. The variation is also very interesting, because you have contrasts. And yeah, here we back to the beginning where we cut out the styrofoam. And if you like it, and if you get some inspiration, it would be great if you forward my content link, like and share. And if you're interested in terrain, feel free to contact me. And if you want to get more impressions of my doings, just check out my blog, tabletopblogspot.com. And yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you have a great day and have a great time. Happy gaming and happy building, and see you soon. Bye.